My dearest friends of the heart and spirit, welcome back to the channel where the angels speak of love, commitment, and the extraordinary resilience of the human bond. Today, we delve into a true story of a choice that shook a foundation built over 9 years. A story that asks us how far we are truly willing to go for the one we have vowed to cherish. This is the tale of Elias and Sarah, a couple whose quiet devotion was tested by the loudest temptation of the modern world, the irresistible lure of a life-defining career. Elias, at 42 years old, served as a pastor in their tight-knit community, a man whose life was dedicated to tending to the spiritual well-being of others. His love for Sarah was the quiet anchor of his life, a constant, gentle presence that nourished his soul. Sarah, 38, was a brilliant museum curator whose passion was bringing history to life for others. They were a harmonious unit, their days woven together with shared Sunday services, quiet evenings, and the deep, unspoken understanding that comes from nearly a decade of shared life and unwavering support. Their impending wedding, only 6 months away, felt not just like a formality, but the natural, blessed culmination of their journey. But the spiritual journey, much like the path of true love, is rarely without its sudden, unexpected trials. The test arrived not as a person from the past, but as a glittering vision of the future. Sarah, who had quietly applied for a prestigious, once-in-a-lifetime position at a major cultural institution, received a call that changed everything. The job was her professional zenith, the role she had been preparing for since her early 20s, promising influence, visibility, and a chance to shape the national dialogue on art and history. The catch? The position was located over 3,000 miles away, on the opposite coast, demanding a complete upheaval of their comfortable, shared life, and most urgently, a complete dismantling of Elias's ministry. The moment Sarah read the email, a wave of paralyzing intensity washed over her. It was that feeling we know so well, the one where the world shrinks to a single decision, blinding us to everything else around us. The angelic messages often tell us that temptation is not always wrapped in sin, but sometimes in the cloak of ambition and worldly success. An offer so compelling it causes us to lose our spiritual footing. Sarah was instantly consumed. The gentle rhythms of her life with Elias, the quiet preparation for their wedding, the familiar streets of their town, all faded against the dazzling light of this professional zenith. She told Elias the news that evening, not with joy, but with a tremulous sense of doom. Elias listened, his face a careful mask of calm, but his heart, the very spiritual core of him, felt the immediate, sharp, agonizing pain of separation. It wasn't just a job. It was 3,000 miles of concrete, undeniable distance. He saw the fire in Sarah's eyes, the excitement that only a true calling can ignite. And he knew he could not simply say, no. That would be the easy, selfish path. But the path of true love is one of sacrifice and spiritual integrity. He knew that demanding she give up this dream would leave a hollow, an emotional scar, far worse than the one caused by any physical injury. For several days, they lived in a state of suspended animation, discussing the logistical nightmares, selling the house, finding a new ministry for Elias, the staggering cost of moving, the challenge of maintaining intimacy across time zones. But beneath the practical difficulties lay the core spiritual crisis, a challenge to their deepest covenant. Were their 9 years merely a convenience, or were they a permanent, unbreakable vow? Would Sarah choose the ephemeral glory of the world, or the enduring sanctuary of their shared life? Elias felt his own spiritual strength being tested, forced to reconcile his love for his congregation with his absolute, soul-deep love for his future wife. This temptation, this dazzling career opportunity, became their unexpected wilderness, a place where their faith and their fidelity would be tested in the solitude of doubt, a proving ground for the love they had promised to the heavens. The paralyzing intensity of Sarah's dilemma kept her awake at night, pacing their shared living room, the quiet heart of their home. The recruiting director was persistent, offering a deadline that compressed their time for reflection into a crucible of immediate decision-making. Sarah was leaning toward acceptance. Her reasoning was practical, logical. This job would not come again, and they could make it work long distance for a while. This rationalization, this calculated risk to their commitment, was the spiritual equivalent of the fall in the original narrative, a moment where the immediate, Tangible reward eclipses the subtle, sacred value of the present bond. Elias, the pastor, found himself unable to preach with his usual conviction. His own spiritual life felt thin, his prayers choked by fear, and the profound anxiety of potentially losing his beloved not to another man, but to a distance so vast it felt like a spiritual abyss. Yet the angels who never abandon those who walk in truth began to intervene. They did not speak in booming voices or appear in radiant robes. They spoke through the ordinary texture of their lives. One afternoon, while working in his study, Elias heard a sound from the living room, the unexpected chime of a favorite old clock they kept. He looked up, and on his desk, his eyes fell upon a worn, handwritten card from their engagement party, signed by Sarah's elderly grandmother. The message was simple. Do not build your house on sand. True love is built on presence. The words hit him with the force of revelation. The sand was the worldly success that might pull them apart. The presence was the commitment to be physically, emotionally, and spiritually available to one another. This was the angelic guidance. Love is not just a feeling, it is a deliberate choice of proximity. Meanwhile, Sarah, while reviewing the job contract, felt a curious resistance in her spirit. She loved the idea of the job, but every time she prepared to sign the documents, her hand would pause. One morning, she drove past a small, unassuming church and heard a hymn drifting from its open doors, a hymn they had chosen for their wedding ceremony. The lyrics, simple and profound, spoke of two lives interwoven, one faith, one path. It was a gentle, loving reminder from the heavens that the path she was choosing was not a singular one, but a path of two, and that separation was a fracture, not a fulfillment. To find clarity, Sarah announced her decision. She would take a 1-week trip to the West Coast to scout apartments and meet the team, giving herself a full, immersive experience of the potential new life. It was a week of planned physical separation, the necessary prelude to her intended decision, a test period that felt like a trial separation for their very souls. Elias knew this was his last chance to rely not on arguments, but on the quiet, spiritual power of his own unwavering heart. He prayed that the distance, the very thing pulling them apart, would be the catalyst that would bring Sarah back to the truth of their shared commitment. My cherished community, the angels tell us that the greatest trials in love are often veiled as the greatest opportunities. We are constantly faced with a choice: the glittering reward that takes us far from home, or the quiet, enduring treasure we already possess. If this story of the tension between ambition and devotion resonates with your soul, if you too have felt that profound pull between your dreams and your deepest commitments, then you are exactly where you need to be. This channel is not just a platform. It is a fellowship of hearts seeking divine guidance. We ask you now, in a moment of honest spiritual connection, to take a step toward this community of light. Please reach out and click that subscribe button below this video. Don't just subscribe. Affirm your commitment to the path of light. And here is our challenge to you. In the comments section below, type "My love is present" and share one single, small moment this week when you chose presence over distraction with your beloved. Was it turning off the phone? Was it listening without interruption? Share your quiet victory. By sharing our light, we illuminate the path for others. Stay with us now, as Sarah makes her journey into the West, and Elias battles his silent war at home. Sarah's trip to the West Coast felt like a surreal dream, a week of intense immersion into a life that was undeniably exciting, prestigious, and professionally fulfilling. She met with directors, toured historic halls, and scouted high-rise apartments with dazzling, unfamiliar views. Everything about the opportunity screamed success, validation, and professional elevation. Yet, the higher she climbed the ladder of professional possibility, the more acutely she felt the chill of an emotional vacuum. The food tasted bland, the new colleagues felt distant, and the dazzling city lights seemed cold and indifferent. This separation, this period of intensive professional focus, was serving as her own spiritual hospital stay, a painful, necessary isolation where the soul's true health could be diagnosed. Back home, Elias navigated the emptiness of their house with a heavy heart. His physical routines remained, but his spiritual center was shaken. The silence of the evenings, usually filled with their quiet conversations or shared reading, was now a loud, echoing void that amplified his fears. He was battling two fierce opponents, the earthly one, which was the allure of the job, and the inner one, which was his own human pride. The angel of pride whispered, "She should choose you. Her commitment should be stronger than her career. Demand that she stay." But the angel of true love countered, "Love is a voluntary gift, not a demand. Your only task is to remain her sanctuary, regardless of the miles." Elias spent most of his reflection time in the sanctuary of his church, a place of comforting familiarity. He didn't just pray for Sarah to come home. He prayed for the integrity of their commitment. He reread the sacred texts, seeking guidance on sacrifice and true partnership. He realized that his fear was rooted in his own need for control, his desire to keep his comfortable, familiar life intact. He understood that true love requires a willingness to be utterly vulnerable, to risk loss in the name of respect for the other person's journey. This realization was his surgery, a painful but vital incision into his ego, allowing him to truly see his beloved's dream not as a threat, but as an essential part of her unique, God-given identity. The memory of the handwritten card, "True love is built on presence," kept returning to him, not as a command to stop her, but as a mandate to choose presence, even if it meant sacrificing his own comfortable life. He realized that if he truly believed in his vow, the location of his ministry was secondary to the location of his heart. He could be a pastor anywhere, but he could only be Sarah's partner by being with her. His reflection led him to a radical conclusion. His love for her demanded that he be the one to bridge the gap, to close the distance, to sacrifice his professional comfort for the sake of their shared life. Meanwhile, 3,000 miles away, Sarah was wrestling with her own profound loneliness. The job was perfect, but the perfection felt hollow. She tried to call Elias, but the time difference, the business of her meetings, and a kind of self-imposed guilt kept her distance. One evening, looking out over the city skyline, she saw a couple having a quiet, simple moment on a rooftop terrace, sharing a drink, holding hands. The simplicity of their connection struck her with the force of an emotional blow. It wasn't the grandeur of the city or the promise of the prestigious job that mattered. It was the quiet, shared life that she had left behind. She opened her phone and scrolled through old photos, not of the big events, but of the ordinary ones. Elias preparing coffee in the morning, their worn favorite armchair, the view from their kitchen window. She was scrolling her memory, realizing that the greatest art she curated was the life she was building with him. The excitement of the new job, which had seemed so intensely real, now felt like a fleeting fever dream. She understood that she was risking a timeless treasure for a temporary crown. The loneliness of the high-rise apartment was her body's physical manifestation of the spiritual void she would create if she chose distance over commitment. Her week of isolation had provided the painful clarity she needed. The decision was no longer about the job. It was about the eternal vow she had made. She knew she had to return home, but she was terrified of what she would find, or what she would have to admit. Sarah returned home not with the contract signed, but with a heavy heart, prepared for the painful conversation that she assumed would end their engagement. She had mentally rehearsed the words, "I have to do this for my career. I love you, but I need this." She was bracing herself for Elias's quiet disappointment, the logical arguments against her choice, the inevitable fracture that this distance would impose. However, Elias was no longer the man consumed by silent fear. His week of solitude and spiritual surgery had transformed his perspective. He greeted her not with suspicion or judgment, but with a quiet, powerful embrace. He let her speak first, letting her pour out the conflict and the excitement, the loneliness and the guilt. And then, when she was finished, prepared for the final, sorrowful negotiation, Elias delivered his unexpected decision. He did not argue. He did not ask her to stay. Instead, he presented her with a small, neatly bound spiritual journal. He opened it and showed her the final page, where he had written in bold, clean handwriting, a simple, profound declaration. "My vow to Sarah is not bound by state lines. I go where my treasure is." He looked into her eyes, no trace of disappointment, only unwavering, sacrificial love. He then spoke a simple truth. "Sarah, Your passion is part of the destiny God has for you. I cannot be your partner by holding you back. I have already contacted my denominational leaders. I am resigning my position here and beginning the process of finding a new ministry that serves the community near your new institution. The distance is closed. The job is yours. Our life together is my only permanent location. This was the unforeseen decision, the complete reversal of expectation that shook Sarah to her core. It was the ultimate proof of his commitment, a sacrifice so profound that it rendered her own professional achievement secondary to the sheer magnitude of his love. He had chosen her over his own established, comfortable career path, over the community he had built, over the security of his familiar life. His action was a living, breathing sermon on true partnership, a spiritual high ground that transcended any professional success. Sarah, overwhelmed, burst into tears, not of grief, but of profound, sacred realization. She suddenly understood that the angelic message of presence wasn't just a geographical rule. It was a testament to the willingness to move heaven and earth for the other, his sacrifice, his willingness to uproot his entire life, became their new, unbreakable vow. They spent the evening renewing their commitment, not with formal words, but with a deep, tearful conversation about what it truly means to build a life together, a life defined by mutual sacrifice and unwavering support. The emotional scar of the missed job opportunity was instantly replaced by the glowing mark of a love refined by the fire of testing. My friends, seekers of truth and disciples of love, is there any force more powerful, more life-altering, than a love that chooses sacrifice over self-interest? Elias's decision to follow Sarah, to completely redefine his own life for the sake of their shared future, is the highest expression of the angelic guidance. Love is action. If this raw, powerful narrative of commitment moves your heart, if it validates the quiet, enduring power of your own relationships, then we implore you to join us. Do not merely watch from a distance. Step into the circle of light and affirmation. We need your stories. We need your wisdom. Please hit that subscribe button with intention, making a conscious choice to be part of this nurturing community. And here is your sacred invitation. In the comments section below, tell us your story. Share a time when you or your partner made a genuine sacrifice, small or large, that strengthened your bond in a way nothing else could. Let us hear the truth of your commitment, and also share your heart's deepest yearning. What subject would you like the angels to address in our next video? Your voice guides our ministry. Be warm, be gentle, be authentic. We are listening, and we are waiting for your light. The subsequent weeks were a whirlwind of focused, unified action. Elias and Sarah moved with a sense of purpose and harmony that had been absent during the week of doubt. Selling the house, packing up the life they knew, transitioning Elias's ministry, all these logistical nightmares became shared tasks, opportunities to reinforce their new covenant. The anxiety of the what if was replaced by the serene confidence of the we will. They had chosen the more difficult, but infinitely more rewarding path. The path where two separate dreams are seamlessly woven into one shared tapestry. Sarah accepted the new position with a profound sense of humility and gratitude. The professional victory, once her singular focus, now felt like a shared achievement, made possible only by the magnitude of Elias's love. She understood that her career success was not the goal, but a testament to the strength of the foundation beneath her. She looked at the prestigious title, the dazzling new office, and the unfamiliar city, and knew that the greatest curation of her life was the relationship she had fought for. Elias, adapting to his new life, began to plant the seeds for a new ministry. The emotional scar of leaving his established congregation was real, a gentle ache of loss, but it was overshadowed by the profound joy of keeping his vow to Sarah. He recognized that this sacrifice was the spiritual confirmation he had needed all along. He had learned that true pastoral care begins at home, and that the greatest sermon he would ever preach was the life of fidelity he was living for his wife. The story of Elias and Sarah is a powerful spiritual lesson for every soul seeking a deep, enduring partnership. It teaches us that love is not merely a feeling of affection. It is a profound, active choice of sacrifice. The angels whisper to us that when the world offers a glittering distraction, whether it is an old flame, a financial windfall, or a career opportunity 3,000 miles away, the true measure of our commitment is our willingness to prioritize the covenant over the comfort. The scar in their story is the profound, quiet understanding of what could have been lost. The lost job opportunity from the original narrative is replaced here by the lost comfort and familiarity of Elias's ministry, a visible sacrifice made for an invisible, eternal reward. This sacrifice, this displacement, became their new sacred foundation, a permanent reminder that their bond was not conditional on convenience or geography. They settled into their new life, their relationship fortified by the memory of the crucible they had endured. Sarah excelled in her new role, but her success was grounded in the knowledge that her greatest supporter had literally moved mountains for her. Elias eventually found a new, thriving ministry, his sermons enriched by the profound personal understanding of sacrifice and divine guidance. Their wedding, 6 months later, was not just a celebration of their love, but a solemn, joyous affirmation of the choice they had already made. The choice of presence over distance, of us over self. My cherished friends, the angels want you to walk away from this story with one indelible truth. The love that is meant to endure will be tested, not by the small arguments of daily life, but by the grand, life-altering temptations that ask you to choose between your comfort and your commitment. May the story of Elias and Sarah inspire you to choose the path of sacrifice, to choose the path of presence, and to remember that the greatest blessing is the quiet, unwavering person standing right next to you. May your heart be strengthened, may your choices be clear, and may the light of the angels forever guide your way. Go now, and live in the confidence of a love that is truly present. Amen.